Title: Beyond the Dome. Chapter 1: Life Under Glass. In the year 2147, the world was as different as it was similar. The rich and powerful had retreated behind walls that could only be described as a glassy shield, an enormous dome that arched over affluent neighborhoods like a shimmering bubble. Dominque Hallmark lived in one of these exclusive enclaves, where wealth dictated the rules and technology made life's mundane challenges disappear. The streets were clean, the houses symmetrical, and the inhabitants, with their perfect smiles, seemed a little too content. Dominque stood out, not because of his demeanor, but because he dared to look beyond the confines of their gilded cage. His penthouse apartment boasted views that reached the horizon, yet Dominque often found his eyes fixed on the barrier that encased their world. He had heard stories, whispered rumors about the dangers that lay beyond, the evildoers that prowled the wastelands outside the dome, desperate to seize what little hope remained. The greatest treasure was the power source that kept the dome intact, an enigmatic energy matrix, rumored to be a combination of advanced AI and quantum energy fields. This source not only protected the enclave but also provided abundance to the residents: food, clean water, and unending entertainment. Every citizen relied on it, but no one thought to question its origin or the price paid for it. Chapter 2: The Awakening. One moonlit night, as the stars twinkled mockingly beyond the dome, Dominque made a decision that would change his life forever. He couldn't shake the feeling that they were living in a gilded prison. From his studies of the old world, he realized there must be weaknesses in the dome, places where the technology faltered. If he could find a way out, he could gather resources, information, and tools that could benefit those within, as well as expose the secrets behind their sheltered lives. He began his search discreetly, researching the history of the dome and the lore of the outside world. Late nights at the library, an ostentatious structure filled with digital interfaces, suddenly became his refuge. He was drawn to ancient texts and forbidden stories about civilization's downfall and the rise of the enclaves. One fateful evening, as he scanned a forgotten archive, he discovered references to the Syndicate, an organization comprised of those who had tried and failed to break the dome. Fragmented messages hinted at hidden access points and old technologies left behind by previous generations. Chapter 3: The Plan. Dominque gathered a small crew, each an outlier in their own way. There was Howie, a tech genius revered for his skills in bypassing security systems; Zara, a resourceful scavenger who knew the underbelly of the enclave; and Jasper, a former syndicate member who had insight into the dome's vulnerabilities. Together, they formed an alliance, fueled by a collective yearning for knowledge and freedom. As they plotted, the dome pulsed with foreboding energy, a constant reminder that time was of the essence. They spent weeks devising plans, studying the patterns of the surveillance drones that patrolled their paradise. They identified a sector near an abandoned power station, a relic from the early days, that could possibly lead them to a weak point in the dome. Chapter 4: Beyond the Barrier. The night of their escape arrived amid whispers and apprehension. With hearts racing, the crew inched toward the power station, blending into the shadows cast by the dome's radiant glow. They navigated through overgrown hedges and rusting steel structures. Howie tinkered with a grit-filled console as alarms blared in the distance, their growing urgency pushing them closer to the truth. Finally, they breached the underbelly of the dome. Sizzling energy crackled in the air as they approached a fissure in the matrix, a shimmering veil that promised both danger and discovery. With a deep breath, Dominque pushed through, a leap of faith plunging him into the unknown. Chapter 5: The Realities of the World Outside. As he emerged on the other side, a wave of raw sensations engulfed him, air rasping against his skin, sounds of life that were painfully absent within the dome. The sky was vast and unfiltered, yet darkness loomed with reports of suffering from the surviving remnants of humanity. Dominque could see remnants of old cities, intertwining vines reclaiming concrete jungles. Here, the evildoers he had once only heard about were the ghosts of a forgotten society struggling to survive. In the heart of chaos, he found remnants of technology, abandoned machines and tattered maps, outlining the forgotten fight against the dome. As he gathered these remnants, he uncovered the true story of the world, one soaked in oppression and sacrifice. Chapter 6: The Return. With newfound insights and resources in hand, Dominque and his crew returned to the dome, forever changed. The knowledge of the outside world, combined with their technological prowess, offered a sliver of hope. Together, they shared their findings, prompting questions within their community, igniting a fire of curiosity. As the residents began to understand the illusions they had lived under, Dominque transformed from a mere resident to a leader, spearheading a revolution against the constructs that had governed their lives. The dome, once a barrier of comfort, became a symbol of tyranny, and the evildoers of the outside world became allies in a quest for freedom. Epilogue: The Fractured Dome. Years later, the dome lay cracked, remnants of its former self scattered across the ground. Dominque stood at the threshold, watching children play in the untamed grass. The world beyond was still uncertain, but it bristled with the promise of discovery. The fabric of society was reframed, no longer dictated by fear, a testament to the human spirit's indomitable will to break free, to seek understanding, and to remake their reality. Dominque understood that beyond the dome was a myriad of stories waiting to be written, and he was poised to lead the charge into the unknown. The glass walls had shattered, and the horizon now stretched infinitely before him.